It's a French département created from the union of the land and two rivers, the Lot and the Garonne. It's therefore not surprising that some of the most beautiful gardens in France can be found here. Mini Edens, whose histories are both astonishing and little known. For example, this one in Temple-sur-Lot. These trees, this water, and this Japanese bridge. The scenery is reminiscent of a famous series of paintings, Claude Monet's Nymphéas. Indeed, it was these gardens, belonging to this nursery owner, that provided the painter's initial inspiration. And it was here that colored water lilies were cultivated for the first time in Europe in the 19th century.
These ponds were created here in La Tour-Marliac in 1870, and this was the original nursery. All these ponds were needed so that water lilies could proliferate as quickly as possible, and a whole range of colored ones could be grown.
Robert Sheldon, the present owner of the site, tends 13 varieties of water lilies. They were created here in Temple-sur-Lot and have been sold around the world since the turn of the 20th century.
If you go to China, Germany, Japan, or the US, water lilies are called by their French names. Everyone knows that tulips are from the Netherlands, but not many people realize that water lilies are, in fact, French, specifically from the Lot-et-Garonne.
This is where Claude Monet fell in love with water lilies. He bought them in their hundreds for his residence in Giverny in Normandy.
This is the invoice for Claude Monet. You can see that he made his first order at La Tour-Marliac in 1894. He ordered a large amount of aquatic plants because he'd just created his water garden in Giverny, so it meant there was nothing in it at the time.
30 or so miles further south, in Nerac, another garden of the Lot-et-Garonne has an astonishing, almost legendary history. It was along these paths that a passionate love affair sprang up between a certain Fleurette and Henri de Navarre, the future Henri IV.
Supposedly, he agreed to meet her in this park, in these grounds, one evening after a court ball in the chateau. But unfortunately, with all the music, the dancing and the wine, he forgot poor Fleurette, who, in despair, threw herself into the river Baise and drowned.
Fleurette was young, wasn't she?
Yes, she was young. She was 16 and Henri was 19. They were young lovers.
Whose love affair only lasted a day.
That's right. It only lasted a day, but the legend lives on forever.
The legend has bequeathed an expression to French literature, conter Fleurette, which has become to flirt in English. The inhabitants of Nerac, who've come to learn about the history of their area, are more than proud of the story.
You can never know enough about the history of your region. And sometimes you go a long way to learn about the history of other places, when you've actually got history right on your doorstep.
A bit further north, in Duras, another couple of lovers chat each other up in a garden as they walk among the fruit trees. For Vincent and his wife, this story has a happy ending.
Look!
Oh, yes, look at those pears.
Saint-Jean pears.
Loads are on the ground, but there are still plenty left. Isn't nature bountiful?
You're right.
In 2020, Vincent won the World Jam Championship.
This is concentrated fruit, sugar, and aromas. I could make one of my apple jams with mint.
This is the fruit of the labor of husband and wife. When they met 20 years ago, he was running a nursery, but didn't know what to do with his apple harvest.
We were inundated with fruit, almost drowning in it. So we came up with the idea of making jams.
She went to the nearby market in Montségur with a tiny table, sold a few jars of jam, and that's how we started, wasn't it, darling?
Just like that.
And today, their jams sell in their thousands. Vincent has left his orchards for his kitchen, and he buys the finest products in the region.
This is fresh rhubarb. It's from the Lot-et-Garonne. As you know, this département is called the Orchard of France. We have everything. We can have all the fruit and vegetables that we want, especially as I make jams not just out of fruit, but out of vegetables too. So I'm going to make some rhubarb and geranium jam. It's a perfect combination.
Vincent grew up in the Lot-et-Garonne, the perfect breeding ground for a future world champion.
If you're lucky enough to be born in this part of the world, you get to know all the right tastes. You don't get caught out. But what helped me to succeed and win the World Championships is because I make unique jams with exceptional fruit.
Today, Vincent's jars are served at the finest hotels and restaurants. He has 80 different jams on offer, with a palette of colors, as rich as those of the gardens of the Lot-et-Garonne.